If you're starting to feel like there's a missing link, there's a missing puzzle piece to the voice of your dreams that's been holding you back from reaching your full potential as a singer, you're absolutely right. But you don't need to practice more. You don't need more barnyard animal sounds to practice, and you definitely don't need whatever the latest trend is on TikTok or YouTube. You just need to close the loop. 9 times out of 10, when a singer comes to me for help with their singing, they have a weak link in the chain pretty early on in their development as singers. And they've moved on to all this fantastic, mystical, magical stuff out there that they're all trying, and nothing works. They've tried everything under the sun. Because everything they try, your voice is only as strong as the weakest link in the chain, right? Everything you try, that one link is gonna let you down. And this really makes you feel like you just don't have what it takes to become a better singer at a certain point. You've tried that many things and they haven't worked for you, you start to feel pretty bad about yourself. You might even start looking for validation for the bias that you're starting to feel. Well, my voice is lower than that guy's voice. Well, I'm not as tall as that guy's voice. That's why I can't do it. That guy's jaw, that guy's teeth, that guy's chin, whatever it is. All these things are total bullshit because none of them actually address that open loop, the weak link in the chain of your singing voice. Close the loop and you will sing better than you ever imagined possible. I'm Keegan from Foundation Vocal Method and author of the best-selling voice coaching book, Reset Your Voice. Over the past 15 years, I've helped hundreds of singers, well, thousands if we're talking my online voice coaching programs, take their singing to the next level using the very system that I'm about to share with you in this video. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video because I got a super special free gift for you that's going to help you take your singing to the next level. Now, if you're somewhere that you can't practice currently, you're somewhere where you can't make noise, you're on the train home from work, something like that, that's totally okay. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and add this to your watch later list so that you can sing along and see these solutions real time. Now, when I'm talking about an open loop, when people talk about open loops in business, it's basically a task sitting in the back of your mind, running in the background, that's taking your bandwidth. So think about an email, right? You get an email, it's going to take you some work, so you star it, and then you go about your day. Every other task you do that day is colored by the fact that you know you're going to have to deal with that email. It kind of puts you in a bad mood. You might even create a bigger issue because you don't answer it for a day or two. And it snowballs into this bigger issue because you didn't just answer the fucking email in the first place. This is singing in a nutshell, right? There's really 3 common open loops that I see in almost every single singer that comes my way for looking for help with their singing, and they're throwing, compression out there and mixed voice out there, and they're not addressing these 3 weak links in their vocal chain. Now, the first open loop that I see in almost every singer I've ever worked with is connecting head and chest voice. Now, I'm not really talking about doing this slowly and quietly in a vocal exercise, right? That's great, that's fantastic, but that's not actually doing anything for your voice, right? It's the lessons you learn through the process of learning to connect head and chest voice, and then the muscle memory you develop around that then flows into actually becoming a better singer when you're singing real songs. And there's really 3 takeaways I've got for you connecting head and chest voice that you should actively be doing when you sing real songs. So the first thing, if you've got a big break in the center, right? Ooh, there's 2 muscles. We've basically got 2 different pitching mechanisms in the voice. We got the TA muscles and pressure, basically thickness and pressure, right? You add more pressure, you'll vibrate faster. We've also got tension. Not bad tension, good tension. If you put your finger here, so between your collarbones, you've got a notch here called the trachea notch, a little dip, don't push, just gently. Ooh, ooh. If you make that kind of hooty ghost-like sound, ooh, ooh, you'll feel those ligaments come forward. This is your CT, your cricothyroid. Now, this tensions the vocal folds, very, very similar to how a tuning peg on a guitar tightens the string and you get a higher note, right? So you're jumping between these 2 mechanisms. If you can identify these feelings and actually bring in the opposing force early, right? So as I'm going up, instead of going and pushing up, if I actually bring in this sensation underneath, it's kind of like a sad cry sound, man. We can work towards connecting this. Instead of dumping down to chest voice, if I actually bring this sensation in as a gradient, so very gently bring that chest voice sensation in, I can get that to connect. The first one is that you've got more than one pitching mechanism. You need to go for that cry in the sound to get that cricothyroid functioning. Number 2, that's actually an acoustic break. That physical break I'm getting there is more of a reflex than anything else. I'm really asking for 2 sounds which don't connect. Ooh. They don't connect. They're not the same thing, right? So I'm jumping between 2 sounds. Now, if I choose a more appropriate vowel, instead of singing that hollow sound, woo, if I actually raise my tongue in the center, more like a French sound, right? That sound is actually closer both to the frequency of the lower note and the frequency of the higher note in the center, so it allows me to connect better. So acoustics come into this as well. We have our cry sound and our 2 mechanisms, and we've also got the sound that you're singing. Are you just singing 2 different sounds? Ooh. They're never going to connect because you're singing 2 different sounds. Try and find a sound which is comfortable in the mid-range rather than focusing on the extremes. Ooh. Then finally we have the bodily reflexes that come with support. If I pull in my belly as I'm going through that slide, this sends a nerve signal that I'm defensive and I'm going to want to bark and shout. If I resist the diaphragm, keep it out and down, this changes the nervous system state and allows you to access the CT muscle, right? The voice is largely involuntary and a lot of this is reflex. So when you sing real songs, we need to have our cry sound to really counter the 2 mechanisms you have for pitching the sound. Number 2, you need to look at the sounds that you're actually singing and your acoustics. And finally, we need to look at our support. Is the diaphragm pulling in and creating a weird reflex, or are we nice and resisted there? And then you can take this in any song, right? When you can't find the light to guide you through a cloudy day. You're hearing the cry? Day. When the stars ain't shining bright and it feels like you've lost your way. Right? You're hearing that I'm not singing the words you think I'm singing there. I'm really not barreling up with chest voice. I'm also not letting it flip to falsetto, and I'm really taking care to support my voice correctly, right? When, instead of pulling in, when you can't find the light to guide you through a cloudy day. When the stars ain't shining bright and it feels like you've lost your way. When the candle lights of home burn so... All right, I'm not pushing on the high range. I'm not letting it fall to chance. I got my sounds dialed in. I've got that connection. I'm basically singing connected between head and chest voice when I'm singing real songs. And that's the first loop that you need to close. Doing it in exercises is one thing, but when you're actually singing, are you taking those lessons that you learned from connecting your head and chest voice and actively putting them into songs? Close that loop, you'll sing better instantly. This leads into number 2. Most of us look at the voice physically. We look at what we're physically doing. We think of building strength, right? We think about the things that we feel and the things we can sense and what we can control. The voice is largely a reflex. The voice is largely involuntary. Acoustics create reflex. Reflex creates behavior. And behavior dictates the physical movements within the voice. So great singing really starts with acoustics. It starts with the sound that you're making, not the physical stuff. How many times have you seen a vocal lesson and someone's already telling you to do something physical? Put your tongue here, do this, clench this, blah, blah, blah. You need to look at acoustics first. How do you think placement works? People talk about mask and forward placement. You can't physically move the voice. You also can't really physically engage the supraglottis in the way that you need to create that forward placement, right? Same as the epiglottis for twang. This is a reflex based on the sound that you're asking for, right? This is a perfect example of acoustics and reflex. So you need to look at the sound you're making, and you really need to look at your vowels. I realize this isn't going to get me 1 million subscribers and make me a millionaire and make me famous, but vowels are the most important basic fundamental of any great singing voice. It's not fun, it's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it fucking works, right? So when you're singing, your vowel sounds and the words that you're singing, or if I sing hey, right? hey. Why does that sound like hey instead of car or see or you? Why does it sound like that? That's because it's a frequency. It's a frequency which represents that sound, okay? So where does that frequency come from? It comes from the fundamental vibration of the vocal folds, which is your pitch. So your pitch and your vowel are actually the same thing. Ergo, if you're struggling to sing higher notes, you most likely have an acoustic vowel issue, right? Let me give you that example on hey, right? If I'm just singing hey, right? Hey, I'm going to push. Doesn't matter what I do. I've been doing this for such a long time and I'm still going to push if I make that sound. Hey. Okay, physically, what do I need to do to strengthen that sound? That sound is not going to work because of the relationship between the pitch and the frequency of the vowel. I need to change my vowel. I need to cater for the changing frequencies within my vowel. So if I change that A to E, it's more appropriate for the register that I'm trying to sing in, right? Hey, right? Hey. So if I want to sing hey in that range, I need to get my vowels right. Again, not exciting, not sexy. It's not, very fun to work on, but it works. And it's something that so many people avoid, right? This is just acoustics. Do you want to sing with the right acoustics or the wrong acoustics? This is an open loop. Your acoustics are an open loop. Look at your vowel sounds. And then finally, loop number 3. Singing is a lot closer to learning drums than it is learning guitar. I've been a guitarist for 35 years, more than now. So when I started singing, I obviously looked at singing through the lens of being a guitarist. But if I think about the other instruments that I've learned, it's actually closer to learning drums. So when you learn drums, you learn rudiments. Basically, you learn different patterns, like a paradiddle, right? You learn these different patterns. And it's not like you do the rudiments and then you go and you just play whatever the hell you want. The rudiments actually are the groove. The rudiments actually are the fill. The rudiments actually are the beat. You put these rudiments, and that's actually what you're playing when you play drums, right? And singing's exactly the same. And I feel like that's the missing link for most singers. You do the exercises, you put in the time, you're making the sounds, and you're expecting to then just go and sing whatever the hell you want. You need to take those basic rudiments and put them into songs, and actually use those sounds and those techniques and those sensations and those vowels and those acoustics and those reflexes when you sing a real song. And that's what singing really is. It's all the rudiments that you've learned through exercises put into practice. Now, you probably noticed that if you've watched a bunch of my videos, I often use vocal lines to demonstrate concepts and techniques. Instead of going through scales, which is totally fine, I'm actually singing real songs, right? You say that I'm low 'cause I slept on the floor, and out in the woods with the badgers and the wolves, and you call me out 'cause I went digging for gold, and I came home with a hand full of gold. That's because the vocal exercises and the songs are the same thing. They're the same damn thing. You don't need to do scales and exercises and drills. You need to take the core lesson from each one of those exercises, do it once or twice, immediately jump over to a vocal line and put it into practice, because that's what your vocal rudiments are. That's what lip trills are. That's straw phonation. That's what mixed voice is. It's just a rudiment. It's just a tool, and it needs to carry through into your singing. And I feel like the mistake that most people make is they do an hour-long warm-up and they expect to sing better at the end of the warm-up than when they started. They're putting the onus on the warm-up rather than what they learn and the rudiments within the warm-up itself, and putting that into your singing. And that's how you actually sing better. So open loop number 1, connecting head and chest voice. It's totally fine to do it on an exercise and work it out that way, but you need to take those core lessons from how you worked it out and put it in your real singing. And then when you're singing real song, right? All I need is a friend, someone to give me a helping hand All I'm doing is taking that connection point from the center with the cry that we spoke about, with the right sound and the right acoustics, and I'm making sure I support, and then I actually sing better without actually having to practice connecting head and chest voice 1,000 times. Number 2, that leads into your acoustics. It's not fun, it's not exciting, but vowels are absolutely everything. Have a look at the vowel sounds you're singing. 2 things I want you to do right now. Take a vocal line you've been struggling with. I want you to write down what the vowel sounds are that you're actually singing. And I bet there's 2 things that's going to happen. There's one thing I want you to do. Write down the vowel sounds, right? Phonetically write down the vowel sounds that you think you're singing. Number 1, half the sounds you're not going to know what fucking vowel you're singing, right? That's okay, but that's showing you the open loop there. Number 2, there's going to be sounds that you swear is one vowel, but when you sing the song, they really don't work, right? So this is another open loop. You've got 2 open loops there just within your vowel sounds and within your acoustics. And then open loop number 3 is really using the rudiments that you learn within vocal exercises and putting them proactively into songs in real time. So let's recap. When you're singing real songs, when you can't find the light to guide you through a cloudy day, we need a slight cry in the sound. When the stars ain't shining bright and it feels like you've lost your way. Right? This is going to carry the sound and it's going to help you stay in that center point of the voice. We've got to get our acoustics and our tone right? Instead of barreling through when and yelling just for the sake of it, make the tone a little bit younger, right? When it's pretty young, yeah. It's like a kind of like a young kind of kid or something, right? Instead of being 43 years old, I'm 6 again, right? All I need is a friend. You hear that youth in there, in my voice that isn't necessarily there in my speaking voice? That's me being proactive with the tone, right? And then finally, you need to take everything you're learning in vocal exercises and from the barnyard animal sounds you've been wasting your time with, you need to put them into real songs proactively. Now, at the start of this video, I mentioned that I had a super special free gift for you that was going to help you take your singing to the next level. Now, open loops are just one of 12 vocal progress killers which are holding you back from your full potential. What I've done to make this easier for you is I've created a 12 vocal progress killer cheat sheet, which you can download right now, absolutely free, and you can go through the list and see exactly which ones of these you're doing. And there's actually an exclusive video that comes through for every single one of the 12 vocal progress killers. And this is going to blow the doors off the whole thing and show you how to take your singing to the next level and really stop wasting your time doing exercises which aren't serving you. Where do you get that cheat sheet, Keegan? You get it here, over here at this link right here. I don't have anything prepared for these things. Anyway, there's a link here. Download your 12 Vocal Progress Killers cheat sheet. It's absolutely free. Get those exclusive videos in there as well. Make sure you hit subscribe. We're definitely going to talk soon.